6
of Project Mayhem podcast.
I thought you were about to forget the name. I was looking at you. I'm like, whoa.
Yo, I almost did, man.
What's up, bro? What's going on?
So we got ourselves the pleasure of having Fred here. Now, Fred was one of the people that was the TA's therapeutic aides.
One of the realest TAs we had.
The realest.
The realest, yes.
At the treatment center we were at.
Yep.
Which is cool. So we had Wes.
We had Wes. We had Mike that was with me the time before.
And now we got somebody that works there. So it kind of gives the other side.
Yes,
right?
yes. We talked about the clients. Obviously, we've been clients. And now we get somebody that works there.
Because, something I want to ask you, Fred, is like, you being there, right? So in order to work there, you have to have some time removed from the disease, right? Yes. So, it's cool because, number one, we get to see somebody that does it, right? And like I know I felt, and I know there's other people that feel like when they get clean, they're not going to be fun. They're going to be like miserable.
Miserable fun.
But you have, and I've told you this, you have the ability to, bring hope to the hopeless, right? Like when we wake up in the morning, we hear Fred in the hallway. We know it's going to be a good day.
Yes. And also that morning, what was it called?
Morning meditation.
Morning meditation.
Yeah, the morning
you always
reflection.
ran, that was good.
Yeah.
Reflection, morning reflection, that's what it called.
Right, and then there was like other people that ran in, and it was like,
Yeah.
Like, I told him the other day, I was like, because you got in the treatment center, you got the choice of either doing yoga, when there's yoga, or you could do this morning reflection.
Yes.
Fred is the only person that people that religiously go to yoga won't go to yoga so they could come to your group.
And why don't you explain morning reflection, just so people understand?
All right, so first of all, thank you guys for having me here.
Problem.
So daily reflection, what I like to believe daily reflection is, it's actually a group that we start the day off with, which actually I hope sets the tone for us, you guys, for the day, right? I don't want to necessarily say that I have anything special or unique about me, but what I like to always do is I'm big on you must have fun when you're doing this thing.
Right.
Because if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to stick to it, right? So I also try to be for you guys what I wish people were for me when I showed up.
Yeah.
And I also understand that some of us, we are just naturally wild people without drugs. I am one of those.
Yes.
Right.
So that's kind of like the method to my madness, and you guys obviously know I constantly remind you guys it's no difference in me and you.
Yes.
Right. Like I love to tell you guys, like the only thing I do right is I don't pick up and I don't use, right? But I'm pretty sure I do more stupid things. Someone has 28 days versus my almost 9 years.
I like, there was a speaker that came in and said, talking about clean time. He's like, who woke up early this morning?
That's who has the most
And it says that's who has the most clean time. Because really, it's just one day at a time. And the next day is different. You know what I mean? It's just
there's like a lot of things within the literature. Like you go to rooms long enough and you hear it. Like clean time don't equal recovery, right?
Yes.
Because there could be a dude that got 25 years clean, but he's miserable.
Yeah.
Or like, and then someone be secretly judge themselves right out the room. Like, okay, you may have 25 years.
You're still cheating on your wife.
You're cheating on your wife.
You're lying. You're stealing. Like,
right.
Just because you remove the drugs and alcohol doesn't mean you're
that's
perfect.
Where like the stuff comes to life. Like how you living when nobody's looking is how you living.
Yes.
And another thing I want to say is like, Fred, I know you know the literature too, right? And it says that our true value is in being ourselves, and you are unapologetically yourself. And that translates over to the energy you bring.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a genuine frequency like that, it bothers people that don't.
Yeah, it turns people shit up.
It makes it seem like you're doing something wrong when they can't be honestly themselves.
So, as far as like me being myself, that's because I wasn't myself for a very long time. I spent more time trying to be what I thought people wanted me to be, in hopes of them actually liking me and accepting me.
Right.
It didn't go that way. I was trying to be what I thought they wanted me to be. They still treated me like shit. So then I, discovered that once I started living in my authentic self, living in my truth, I didn't present that weird energy. People actually, the fact that I was comfortable in my skin made them comfortable in theirs around me.
Right.
So I don't know. It's really about the feeling that I get when I try different things. If it's a feeling that feels good, I continue to do those things. If it's something that feels weird, or if it's something that I question, I pause. Like I love to say to people, the best thing I can do is nothing on most days.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, because if the only thing I can do is what, Fred usually want to do, 9 times out of 10, it's not the right thing. So,
Yes.
I sit around a lot of days it's not really to protect me, it's really to protect people.
Okay.
Because I know how I get, like, listen, I go off script when it comes to this program that I work, right? I know I'm working on trying to be a more spiritual person, but I also understand I'm not there yet.
Right.
Just like I also understand I'm more closer to who I used to be than who I'm becoming.
Right.
So that's why I'm very careful about those that I'll allow in my space.
Bill, that's a good way to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even with the spiritual side, like today, I had a bad day. It went off script, and
He'd be ready to blow a head.
Oh, I was about to kill somebody today. Oh, God. From my lawyer this morning to phone call after phone call. But listen, like I know it sounds corny. I prayed on it, and then I took a nap, woke up from that nap, and got good news about something I got bad news about. And I was like, all right, well, listen, this is like the 4th time I prayed like this. I pray every day, but like really like said, God, please help me with this.
What's cool with situations like that is like you get enough evidence that like when some bad shit's going on that you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're in it, you don't feel that. And it takes somebody else sometimes to be like, yo, you've been through something like this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Fred. So you work at a treatment center, right? How many times what was the deciding factor? Like, what was that moment that made you throw your hands up and said, I'm done? That got you clean?
Honestly, it was the last time I used. I remember I was using what I was using. Whatever happened, it was like my first blackout.
Okay.
I ended up in some woods in what is that, Remsenburg?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And it's like a pine area.
Oh.
Right.
And I remember when I like came to, like I thought I had been like trafficked or something, and I was like in Guatemala,
Where's my hat?
Oh my God, because I just like came to, and it was like all these woods, and it was dark, and then I came running like out of the woods and stuff like in a panic, and then by the time I got to the highway, like I remembered the road, and I just started walking. I had like no shoes on, my coat was gone, the drugs that I had was gone, like the little bit of money I had was gone, my cell phone, and still right now till this day I don't know what went on, but what scared me the most, it wasn't the fact that I did drugs and I ended up in the woods. It's the fact of not knowing if it had been like 1 hour that I didn't remember, 2 hours, 3
Yeah.
hours, and
The
God
loss of
knows.
time.
Yeah.
Yes, and my cousin, who I love to death, who's actually here with me, she was dealing with some health issues, and the fact that I called her at that hour to bother her, that was what made me feel like, okay, it's time for you to get yourself together. The fact that you didn't even consider the hour that it was
Right.
and
Yeah.
what she was dealing with, and you just called her. And you know what? She got up and she came and got me, and I went to the house, and, between talking to her and her mother, for the first time, I made the decision that, you know what, you do need help. This is crazy. But I think I had realized years ago that I needed help, but I just was so busy trying to make sure the people that doubted me, I didn't want them to be right.
Okay.
So it's like I
Yeah.
was using secretly, but I was still showing up, going to work.
Yes,
It's
yes.
almost like I wanted to present that I was changing, but I
Yes.
knew I wasn't, and I didn't know
Yeah,
how. but I
behind the
just
scenes,
didn't
you're
want
still a
them to be
train
right.
wreck, and you're trying to show that you're
Right.
living a certain way, but inside's
Right.
eating you alive because you
Right.
know the truth.
Yeah.
That's what matters, your truth.
Yeah.
See, I think that might also be a big reason as to why you bring the energy you bring, because you're not perpetrating a fraud no more.
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Absolutely. Because I do see, and listen, it's never about me personally taking people inventories. I don't do that, but I'm a very real person.
But sometimes you got to know
But
to
it's
know
not
who to
even,
stay away from.
It's not even that you have to. It's like, how can you not? As humans, we're just built
Right.
that
Yeah,
way.
right, exactly.
And when we're constantly cohabitating in these meetings amongst each other, we know who's who and who do what,
Yeah.
but I also understand they tell us we can learn something from everybody in the room.
This is true.
Even those that are not doing the right thing, they can show you how you don't want to be. So me speaking on somebody's character, I don't like to touch the asset and defect thing, because what I've learned, right? I always go off script with this thing. This is just a program that works for me. I don't really entertain all that you trying to tell me what my character defects are, right? Because something that you see as a defect, I might use it in my life as an asset, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I encourage everyone. It's your recovery. It's your life. It's your journey. You got to set this up in a way that works for you. But a lot of us, we come here and we let people pick our sponsor, pick our support, you know, pick where and how we should be conducting ourselves. And then this is what happens. Now, instead of trying to be a better version of yourself, you're now trying to duplicate this person.
Yes,
Right.
And
exactly.
then you get a year in and you discover they was fraudulent. You don't even really like them, and you just set yourself up for failure.
Yeah, you're right, because this is the first time I came out and I picked my sponsor before I left, and then I literally talked to him before I picked you up. I talked to him twice today. I
Yes.
talked to him every day, and like when I was going through all that stuff, he's the first person I called.
Yes.
Yo, what's going on? And then I called you. I called Paul. You remember Paul? I
Yeah.
called him and like talked to my people, and then by the time I was done with that, I would calm down enough to where I was like this. But like old me would have been F everybody,
Right.
just
So-
go, just sat in my stuff, got more riled up. I was just like, you know, just trying to do everything opposite. You always say, take the suggestions.
Right. And the
Do
ones
everything
you don't
different.
take are the ones you pay for.
But that's
Exactly.
not always true, though, because
It's true.
a predecessor actually told me this. She said, a person that tries to take all the suggestions is the person you should keep your eye on.
That's true too.
But
Yeah.
she said that, sweetheart, you have to take some, though.
You have to learn.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, and that's when I came up with that thing. I discovered that, right? A lot of us, we have the willingness to learn, right? We just don't have the willingness to be taught by another person. You understand?
That's why we touch the stove.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and listen, again, I stay in trouble in recovery because I go off script. You know, I'm someone who truly understands. I see people for who they are. It's never about, you know, you're telling me how I'm acting. And that happens a lot in here. Now, what I am open to, I would rather you approach me and be like, you know what, I don't know you and I'm not saying anything, but I'm just trying to tell you I see something in you that reminds me of a newcomer that I befriended a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
I would rather you handle me like that versus you
say,
just
"This is
come
what's
up
gonna happen."
and start talking at me, you know, as if, you know, it's going to be the same thing. Don't get me wrong. More than likely, it usually goes that way, but it doesn't always go that
Right.
way.
Yeah.
And I hate when they don't see me for a little while, right? And the first
Oh,
thing
you
you
get
assume
high.
is you're getting high. Watch this. Why can't it be I actually paid attention and I learned something and I'm doing what you people taught me? Why can't it be maybe I'm not speaking out here in this area because you people are aggravating to me,
Right.
but I will never say, oh, I'm giving up on Narcotics Anonymous. What I say today is I'm just going to move on to a new area so I can get my recovery refreshed.
Right.
And then once I get sick of that area, then I'll come back out
You
east.
meet new people. Yo, it's
Yeah, like-
listen. I was told two things. I was like, you can do whatever you want in recovery as long as you don't get high. I was
Absolutely.
told
Yeah.
that. And then it's it's kind of like the same thing when I was doing drugs, right? And I would get from one dealer, and soon enough, I didn't like his shit no more, so
Yeah.
I go to another one. So like I was taught to do the same thing in recovery you did in the street as far as chasing it.
Also, what I love about meetings is you go to whatever meeting you want. If
Yeah.
there's a meeting I don't like me and Paulie went to the CI one, Curtis's home group one night.
Yeah.
Totally different feel, and it was awesome. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because like you go to the same place, you hear the same people bitching, moaning, complaining,
Yes.
and eventually you're just like, oh my, you start dreading it.
Yes.
So to go see different people and just different energy and different stories and people that are different than us, like it's cool to see a whole new group of people you don't know, and you know what I mean. You get to hear different stories and vibe with them.
Also, I mean, you've heard me say this a few times. Like, for me, I feel as if, like, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholism, whatever area you go to, it's a subculture back in the culture.
Yes,
right?
yes. That's
So
a
you
great
start
line,
going
yeah.
there, and then you start finding other things that you may like doing.
Yeah.
Right? But as long, like, there's two parts. I say this all the time. There's the fellowship, which is the meeting.
Yes.
And then there's the program, which is the book, the spiritual principles.
Yeah.
Another word for principle is law. There's spiritual laws, and for so long I lived lawless. You know, and I can live in conflict with the spiritual principles, but they don't work out too well for me. You know what I mean? So I just try to live my life by using those principles in my life. You get two personalities: people that apply their life to the program, and people that apply the program to their life.
Yes, I'm the second
So
one.
let me ask you that, because I thought you were from Brooklyn because you said you were going out to Brooklyn that day.
Well, you know, I go. So I have a very weird past. You know, it's kind of crazy when you come from thinking you're the ugliest person on the planet. You know, when you spent your whole life with everyone, whether it's family, friends, whoever, everybody just, even if it wasn't intentional, right?
Right.
Even if they didn't realize what they were doing, but My problem has always been with it. I get it. You may not realize what you're doing, but you're also not paying me any attention when I'm trying to tell you that it's bothering me. Because I just had this conversation actually with my mom. My mother kind of questioned whether I believe she loves me or vice versa. But I had to get my mom to understand it really has nothing to do with you. I know you love me and I love you, but I think what the problem is, and I got to get comfortable with saying this, you just don't love me the way I need you to love me.
Yes.
And just like I got to get okay with saying it to you, you have to be okay with hearing it. And my mom, when I say things like that to her, it's really because I stand on my truth, kind of like what I was saying in the beginning.
Right.
And my truth is not always going to look or sound like you need it to, but it's still my truth, and you have to learn to respect that.
You have to get with it too.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'm glad you brought that truth thing up, because I always say right there's like universal truths,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Then there's personal truths.
Yes.
And what my personal truth is and yours are different. Like, I know 1 + 1 is 2.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But when my niece was young, 1 + 1 was 11. And that was her truth.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. She would swear in a stack of Bibles, take a lie detector test, and believe that.
100%.
Yes.
But
Because a lot of people don't judge you or get to know you based on your accolades or what you do.
Right.
They based on what they've heard of you and what they physically see. And that gets a lot of people in trouble. But thank God, right? I come from this new community that I'm a part of, and they teach us about being open-minded. And I used to always pride myself on thinking I was a very open-minded person. But what got me in trouble, I didn't realize I didn't apply open-mindedness like when it came to drug addicts.
Yeah.
Because I'm very close-minded when you're a fucking...
No,
when
you're good.
when you're a crackhead or you're like a dope head.
Yeah.
I was very close-minded with that because I'm not one that you ever saw like on the street hanging with people who smoke crack. I
Right.
say to you guys all the time, thank God for this ego, right?
Yeah.
My ego will never allow me to allow people to call me a crackhead.
Yeah.
Right.
I was okay with being called everything else, but that just shows me how dumb and sick I think, right?
Right.
You can call me a cokehead, a pillhead, a dusthead. I was fine with that because
not
it
a base
sounds
head.
fly to me, right?
Yes.
But when you say crackhead, you make me think about a person
Yes.
standing in Bellport like over on Taylor. Like, you
Right.
know,
You
like,
never,
and that
like, I
just
always
don't
thought
work for me.
I sold drugs. I'm not wasting money. I'm not robbing anybody. I mean? Like, I don't look at I look at myself like a higher grade of a drug
Yeah.
addict.
With my pinky up.
My pinky up because
Yeah.
I was making money, but I'm still a train wreck. Like, my whole
Absolutely.
life's in shambles. I may be in fly
Absolutely.
clothes. I'm weigh 160 pounds. I look like death, but I'm
Right.
in brand new clothes and a nice car. I think I'm the shit.
Right, I could get a 40 for 20.
Yes. But, I
Let
mean...
me ask you, so when did you move from Florida to New York?
So I came, it was a trip twice. Listen, like it is what it is. Like I'm someone who grew up without my father. My mom, like it is what it is. My mother did the best she could with what she had, what she was taught. I didn't understand any of these things until I came to Narcotics Anonymous. I thought I hated my mother for a very long time. But when I came into Narcotics Anonymous and, when I just mustered up the courage to say that one day, I was so scared when those words came out of my mouth. I thought these people was going to be like, what the hell is wrong with this person talking about, I think my mother hates me and I hate her, right? But that wasn't what, the response was. I mean, these fuckers went to welcome.
I know. The response, yes.
And I'm just like, oh my God, like who are these
Screws
people?
you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
It did, because I
found a
was like,
place I could
is
share
this
my
somewhere
truth.
I need to be? Like, if you can applaud someone saying they hate their mother and they think their mother hate them,
Yeah.
but I didn't know about it being a program of honesty,
Yes,
right? I
right.
didn't know anything about this stuff. So that weirded me out even more. That didn't make me feel like I was where I was supposed to be. It actually had me questioning,
Like, what's up with you?
where was I?
Yeah, what's up with you? But I feel like it's anything. Like, they know when somebody's bad. Like, I know in the meeting, I'm just like, this is... But then when you hear somebody like you say the truth, everybody gets behind it. Because it's
Yeah.
all about being honest. If you can't be honest in there, where are you going to be honest?
Exactly.
Right? Like, come on.
Well,
Like,
also, you're as sick as your secrets.
And
yeah.
I think they said the goal is to, let my truth, right? And me showing courage and having a little faith and hope, in hopes that it ignite the same thing in others,
Right.
And that's usually what happened. Like, I remember the first time I actually spoke about being molested, right? And when I went into that whole thing, it was kind of like my first time actually ever talking about it on a public platform like
Right.
that. And I was very nervous because I felt like the people was going to judge me. And, let me be clear about something. As me being a gay man, right, when you share certain things in these rooms, like when I go to talking about being molested, I can watch the looks on people's face because you can't tell them it's not something that this little fucking gay boy, being grown is something I did to entice the adults. You know, that's kind of been like my story, like my whole life. And what gets me in trouble in Narcotics Anonymous, as well as every other area in my life, it's a different game when you're gay, whether people want to admit it or not. I'm not going to name drop and stuff, but I remember when I first came to my first NA meeting, and I asked the gentleman who has a lot of time to sponsor me. He told me
about this.
He told me no. And then because I have too many people and I don't want to do you a disservice, but someone came 10 minutes after me who had tattoos and muscles and looked like a juice head. And you was like, call me the first 7 days and we're going to get to know each other. So all of these things kind of set the tone for me. And what I felt was in the beginning, oh my God, these people are no different than how they were treating me outside.
That's definitely a bad look to set the tone.
So that's the part they don't tell you guys. They'll just say he was sitting in the back of the room and he was all frowned up and he was mean, but tell them why I was that way. You understand? But thank God, right? I came in here and I did a little bit of work on myself. And when I tell you today it's nothing, it's nothing. I'm glad I didn't really act out. I'm glad I didn't really get disrespectful and rude with people as bad as I wanted to. But talking about God already working on me, it was things that I know I would have responded to a certain way. But for some reason, I don't even want to say I didn't have it in me. I just couldn't do it. And thank God I didn't do it, right? Because I got comfortable. I accepted my seat. And boom, here we are almost 9 years later.
It's crazy how it progresses. It can progress as bad as it could go, as good as you can see that. I love seeing the comeback story. It's great to see where you're at and then where you come, and just you can never visualize, especially when you're in the bottom, when you're going into an institution, you're sitting there or in jail, prison. You're like, how can I get out of this?
But the best part about the bottom is there's nowhere but up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I can see, I was molested by my brother when I was young, right? Now, I remember telling my mom when I was young that this happened. She shrugged it off. She was a drunk back then. She's got 15 years sober now, so go for her.
Congratulations,
you know what
Mom.
I mean?
Shout
Yeah,
out to
and
Mom.
that really catapulted me toward recovery, too. I didn't like to drink because she drank. I didn't want to be like Mom. But I did everything else. You know what I mean? But, so... I remember talking to my brother about it years later, right? And I was 7 and he was 13 and whatever, and it fucked with me for a while. I didn't want people to touch me or whatever. And then I spoke with him, and he told me that somebody did it to him, right? Now, it didn't make it okay, but I understand. I hate that I understand shit sometimes.
Yeah, it kind of made it where you
Right.
get it while
I
it. Yes.
could get it, and I'm glad I had this conversation because he ended up dying. You know what I mean? He overdosed.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I had that conversation so I didn't hold that.
Yeah, and hold
You
that
know what I
resentment
mean?
until you died. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
At least
but
you got some closure.
But I thought I was I remember telling somebody, they were like, you need to forgive him. And the first thing was like, what do you mean forgive him? And now I realize, I always say this almost every episode, at the crux of this program, it's acceptance and forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to
Yeah.
be able to accept everything you did to someone, everybody, everything that happened to you, and then become willing to forgive them. But most importantly, become willing to forgive yourself.
And let me be clear, because I kind of have a distaste for these kind of people. But I also understand we got to meet each other where we are, right? I have a distaste for people that when they come into this process, all they want to talk about is what people did to them.
Right.
So I want to be clear in the midst of me saying that I was someone who was molested. When you're raised wrong, you know how hurt people, right?
Yeah.
I want to be very clear about something, but I also was taught some bad things, and then I actually start willingly sleeping with people, family members, friends, partners. I just start doing these things because when it was all said and done, what it all boiled down to is I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get the next one.
Right.
And I love to crack this joke, Sucks for you guys. I hope you guys know who you invited here. I'm like the gay with the two heteros, right?
Yeah.
But my truth is, and when I share, because I want other gay men as well as women, as well as straight men who have, did a lot of that degradation stuff and things like that, right? I crack this joke. I have to be very careful about how I conduct myself, even in Narcotics Anonymous, right? Because something that came up earlier, your devil can trigger my devil.
Yeah.
And sometimes what my devil looks like, because it's no secret, just like men used me, I used men, right? And I'm not exempt from doing that in the rooms. That's why I'm very careful. I'll be like, I don't want to sponsor no one who's nice looking because I know I can't trust me yet. But when I say things like this from a real place, people looking at me like I got a second head. And it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me, not just knowing who I am today, but I accept all parts of me.
Yes.
And it's really about when I see me showing up, right? What am I going to do? So when I start getting these obsessive thoughts like, oh, this motherfucker, look good. And here I go. This is how I start negotiating with myself. Oh, I'm going to start going to the meetings with him so I can help him get settled in.
Let's go to the diner.
Let me be his temporary sponsor.
I'll just do it for a little bit. Just for a little bit.
Right.
Just a little bit.
But that's just really me showing the human side of Fred. And I think that's what gets a lot of us in trouble. We become so gung-ho on not only wanting to get it right, but feeling like we got to get it absolutely right. No, you are still going to fall short. You are still going to do stupid things. And this is why, if you remember, I used to love to say this. I believe we are spiritual beings first, and we have a lot of human experiences.
I say that too. We're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Right. So with that being said, knowing that you are going to have human experiences, the moment you fall short, stop treating it like it's the Armageddon or something, like the end of the world. Just try to do better with your next go around.
That's the other thing too. Is you become more aware.
Yeah.
So now you don't pop out the bushes on yourself.
Some of us still do, because like me, I say it and I stand on it, and people look at me like, but isn't the point and the goal is for you to get comfortable with clarity? No, I still hate clarity.
Right.
Yeah.
I hate clarity because clarity for me, it never comes looking like I wanted or needed to look in that moment, So, listen, I'm never going to be one of those that, I know I could be about to say something dumb, right? Or I know I could be about to say something that all the predecessors are going to be like, oh, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yo, something I wanted to bring up, and this is something I know, because I know you run a group sometimes for gay people in the rehab, but also women at times, right?
Well, I don't do it for the women. I do the pride group, but because I'm such a diverse person,
thank God for
women love to attend my group. Because with women, I got you. I'm sorry. I like to explain to the women, and this is why they get so comfortable with me. I like to be like, sweetheart, let me tell you something. They ain't just doing it to y'all women. They treating us gay men like shit too. So I'm right there with you, sister. And then they find this safety within me. And then it goes from, I will tell them some of the shit that I've done. I'm a gay man. Obviously, blowing a motherfucker is the easiest thing I could have done to get drugs. So I'm never going to sit here and act like, oh, I've never done that. I like to crack this joke. I'm not that far removed, right? Some days, even in recovery, instead of getting on 2 knees, I might get on 1. I love to crack that joke, you know? Because the point I'm trying to make is I'm not exempt from doing the dumb shit I used to.
Right, but what I was going to say is, thank God you do that, and the women too, because, I know as straight men, right? Mm-hmm. I know, I'll go rob a person, I'll juggle it, sell things, right? But a lot of women that are active in addiction give up their body, right? And, I feel like it's important for them to speak about that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But it's not easy for women to do that. And this is what we try to get the men to understand. When they come in here and they're looking at them like a piece of meat and all of this stuff, talking about your demon triggering somebody else's demon. These women know what they possess. They know how to use their body to get what they want. So if you set the table for that shit, of course, they are going to entertain it.
And some girls, we've seen it, set up for that, even in places like that. You're like, what are you doing? You were just crying about this in group.
Yeah.
And then you're luring this dude in, getting stuff from him, knowing you have a husband on the outside.
It's that victim to villain mentality.
You were just crying about this, but now you're doing it, and you're cheating on your husband. I'm like, what is going on? This is madness.
Yeah, that was why. I was in the rehab, and I overheard an individual say to somebody else, "Listen, when I get out of here, if you give me 2 grams of crack, we can fuck." And I was like, oh, like I was just hearing it, and I was like, you just got done burping up crack talking
Like,
about.
can I ask you guys though? Is that really surprising to you though?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And after I realized where the hell I was,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like it's like people like I remember going to a meeting this old time. It was like kind of you could tell he was like a dry drunk in an NA meeting. You know what I mean? And he was like, "Look at this, high." And I was like, "Do you realize where we're at?"
The odds of somebody being high is very, goes up.
You know, and also like it's I've been around the process for a while. I came in and out. So like, as screwed up as this is, when people die, it doesn't. Maybe I'm numb to it.
I just talked about this at
Or
outpatient.
I know it's a reality. Like I told you on the phone, my first sponsor said get a watch and get a 3-piece suit.
Well, remember
He said-
back in the day what they used to say is in rehab, you look to your left, look to your right, most of these people are going to be dead.
Right.
And you know what? I've been to so many people in and out of this process since 2005. I can't even count anymore how many people died.
Right.
Like, that's just the facts. Like, listen, and I'm numb to it too. I don't feel bad. It's like, listen, you die of cancer, a horrible accident, yes. Nobody puts a gun to your head, at least I've not seen, and said, hey, smoke, shoot up, do what you got to do.
The sad thing is nobody's planning on dying. They just want to get high one more time.
Yeah.
And it's the reality.
Playing Russian roulette, bro. You're playing Russian roulette.
So
Especially
what
now.
makes it sad for me is, it's so funny that we're having this conversation. It seems like, and I've always had a hard time with death. I just have, because I've been in the medical field for over 20, 25 years, right?
Yeah.
So between people in whatever facility I'm working in, like they were just dying. So it had got to a point like I didn't know how to separate real life like death versus like death at the job. It just all felt like death at the job, death
Just
at
that's
the job.
nonstop. You're
Right.
seeing it all the
and
time.
then,
It starts to
COVID
weigh
hit,
it, yeah.
and then I come into this process and people just started dying, and then I'm not gonna lie to you, I got to a point where I didn't want to get to know nobody in Narcotics Anonymous because I'm like, why am I going to build a relationship with this person and I got to spend all this time feeling sad and crying?
Yeah.
Like it was just a horror show. But that's when I started going to meetings where they were actually like discussing grief, and the reality of it is it's very unfortunate and it's very sad, but I don't like to say what's about to come out of my mouth, but it is the harsh truth of what we're dealing with. And I think it's important that we all hear this. All of us are not going to make it.
Yes.
Because all of us are not going to do what's required to sustain not using, right? And this is when I get angry because it gets me so emotional because I feel like, and I say this, we're not making shoes. We are not making jeans.
Yeah.
We are trying to save lives here.
Yes.
So anything somebody suggests you do other than the things you used to do, give it a shot. Give it a shot. I don't care if you don't like the person. I don't care if you don't like the way they smell, where they come from. Still try what they're telling you to do.
And what you got to lose, man? Like,
And it's not how it was. Years ago, when addicts were like using, they were getting like abscesses and they were getting things amputated. Today, look at these babies. Like, look at the older people. Just look at everyone. You're just doing it one time and you're dying.
Yeah.
I'm hearing so many stories that, like one story, the kid, where I used to work at in Southampton. The kid, he graduated from his nursing program, had never did drugs a day in his life. His friends talked him into smoking a celebratory blunt. It had fentanyl in it.
Oh, Jesus.
When the kid smoked weed for the first time, his parents found him laying in their front yard, dead from an overdose with his pockets turned inside out.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So, I hope this is like a PSA, right? We as a community, we got to get more serious with this thing because I really feel like we're really heading for like troubled water.
Yes, we're
I
at
know
the end
we
game.
think we're in trouble now, but when I look at the temperature and when I even look at like a lot of things that's going on, and they say this thing happened in waves. I remember when I first started coming around, the people that taught me, thank God for them. I couldn't stand them, but thank God for them. And I will say to people today, if you go to a meeting and they annoy the shit out of you, they are meant to be in your life.
Yes.
They are meant to be in your life because of how they controlled the meetings. They didn't play all that cross-talking, all that distractions, things that were going on amongst group members, and they would just let it go because I'm your friend.
Yes,
they got to get back to the basics.
It's definitely. I remember first coming in 2005. It's a totally different feel. Like it was much more. stranger. Now I feel like it's like, and you're right, in a meeting, you hear people talking, laughing. It's
Yeah.
like, show some respect for the speaker.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get it. Like, this guy took time out of his day to come here to speak to you. Like,
And it's hard to tell your truth,
Yes, and,
especially
like-
the people that you don't know.
Yes.
It's hard.
My sponsor, he harps on traditions, right? And in those rooms, traditions are the backbone of that meeting. They're non-negotiable. They're not in conflict with each other. They are what they are. And, that's why I think tradition work is important, so you know how the group is ran. But first, I don't think you should do, step one, tradition one. You do the steps. Because the steps protect me from killing me.
Yeah.
Traditions protect me from killing you.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
the difference, but they are important, It used to be my pet peeve when I was in the treatment center, and I'd be in an AA meeting, somebody say, "Hey, I'm an addict," or an NA meeting, somebody say, "Hey, I'm an alcoholic." It's my stuff. You know what I mean? I know it's my stuff, but I think it's also important for people in treatment to know that there is a way to conduct yourself. There's an etiquette when you do go to meetings. If you're at an AA meeting, in respect to those traditions, say you're an alcoholic.
But the old timers got to understand it
That these
takes
people don't know.
time to get to a place of respecting the house you're in.
Right.
Because a lot of us, we show up, right, as rule breakers, being defiant, don't want nobody telling us nothing. So again, I feel certain behaviors are expected. And the very unfortunate part, we don't get to put a time limit on what that change looks like for that person.
yeah, like,
And I
remember-
think that's when it goes from trying to, like a more experienced member trying to take you through something they've been through, it starts to look more like you're trying to like parent me or like
Yes,
son
I
me
don't
or
like that
something.
whole school. Like, I remember my first meeting in LA. I didn't know. I said Frankie Oxycontin. Everybody started laughing. I'm like, what? I thought you were just supposed to say what drug you do. The whole room's like, that's where I met Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. I came up, and I told you after, he was like, you Frankie Oxycontin kid, right? I'm like, oh,
You
Jesus.
were like Iron Man?
I'm like, I don't know what. But like, I was so nervous. I just signed Oxy, and like everybody, like I didn't know it was say addict, like I was just so nervous. It was like 200 people there. I was like, So like I get it too. Like if you're new, like you get nervous. Like you
Yes.
just
Especially big meetings. too.
yeah, it's like
Very
dude,
intimidating.
yeah, like you sometimes you go like perpetual and like that meeting is a little bit lesser, so you feel a little more. But like there's some meetings like the wheel, the one tonight that it's like 30. That place is packed, so you get nervous.
like
you know what I
It's
mean?
kind of like being Carrie, from that movie. What was it, Prom Night?
Yeah,
When she
yeah.
walk in and they're all going to be laughing at me. They're
Yes.
all going to be laughing at me. It's kind of like you go into that mindset.
Right.
And then what's very annoying to me, and listen, see how I'm saying things annoy me, but listen, guys, I love the crack jokes. I love the.
You got to.
I love to see people like on the edge of their chair with the thought of like something I say I
Yeah.
might go to a meeting and do. Because they know I'm notoriously known for doing exactly what I say I'm going to do. Now, is this saying a lot about me and something that I need to work on? Yes, because I want to get to a place where I don't need to see people sitting on the edge of their chair, worried about what is Fred going to do. Like, I just want to get to a place where when Fred show up, people know he's going to bring a good message and good vibes. But I'm okay right now, but I know I have a lot of work to do on myself, that when I show up, they never know which way it's going to go with me. And that's not a good thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing considering what it could have been.
Right.
That's what they don't understand about me. I'm very aware of my shortcomings, but I'm also aware of the fact you don't get to dictate when I'm going to start addressing them and working on them. I get to dictate everything about my life in recovery, in my family, in my friendships, even at work. You guys see how I am at work.
Yeah.
See how I'm comfortably talking about my job because, see, I was a good person who used to do a lot of bad things, right? Mm-hmm. But the point is, I was a good person. Right. So now I'm a good person who's trying to do good things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's nothing you can say to me. I don't need someone telling me how to act. And that's the problem with me and people. You don't understand what your conversation sounds like when you're talking to me.
Right.
The hell with what you're saying. I'm telling you what I'm hearing. And with me being almost 53 years old, respect what I'm saying is the most important thing in my life today. And I don't care if it's my mom, my brother, my best friends, my boss, whoever, you are going to respect what I'm saying because I didn't do all of this work, right? And I didn't, let me be cocky when I say this. Right.
Yeah, a little brush off, a little brush off.
I didn't do all this work on myself to become this person for you to still try to handle me like I'm that delinquent that you met 10 years ago.
Right.
You know, and again, I know I'm powerless over what people think and what they say, but see, here's the part they don't tell us. People are also powerless over what we think and what we say.
Yeah, it's a two-way
That
street.
becomes the problem.
Well,
You know, they just want to tell you
Yes.
that you are powerless over what people say and think. Hello, I get that, but do you realize that you are powerless
Exactly.
also over
Well,
what I think and what I say? So my man or my girl, this is where we got to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
You know? So, I just keep everything. I feel like I simplify everything. I feel like I'm a very realistic person. My cousin, again, you know, someone told her something that was very insightful for her, and she passed it along to me. And when my cousin said this to me about like 2 months ago, thank God she said it to me because I needed to hear that. You know what? These simple words. She said, cousin, you know what the problem is? You're just a very practical person. And she's right. And when you look at it, I look at it like this. I am a very practical person who happens to live in a world with a lot of unpractical people.
Yes, very unpractical. This world's not so cut and dry.
But you know what, Fred? Like, thank God you're the way you are. I think you're a huge asset to where you work.
I know I'm a huge asset to where I work. You know, see, here's the thing about me, and I'm just going to be very real. If it gets me in trouble, who gives a shit? You know, see, the people that I work with don't really know my story. They don't really know me. All they know is what they've heard people say about Fred that they saw at a meeting, or all they know is what Fred has showed them since I've been at work, right? But what they don't know, I come from the land of being the underdog. I come from allowing people to try to put me in a box, you know, because my personality is really
big for a
big.
box, though.
Right, and that's what I've been saying, you know, and a mistake I made. When I'm at work, I kind of got to a place where I felt like I needed all that I do, like I needed credit or I needed, you know, some type of acknowledgement, right? And I was really considering moving on. That's my truth. I don't even care if they hear it because I've said it since I've been there. I was really considering moving on because what it was starting to come across to me as is the disrespect that I had been dealing with like my whole life. You know, I'm around people and I'm doing this and I'm working hard and I'm touching people and you know this, but why is everybody else still feeling good about everything and reaping the benefits, but Fred still feels like shit? You know, it started to feel like once again I'm now being used, right?
Yeah.
But once I slowed myself down, and you know, like I tell you guys all the time, it's all about our perception, right? And we got the choice to change that at any given time. So I remember I sat one day and I made the decision, you know what? I'm not biting my tongue no more. I'm going to just go there because you're a good person, right? I'm going to say what needs to be said. If I feel disrespected, I'm going to speak on it. I'm not going to walk around on eggshells. You know, I'm just not doing
You shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
I got to work. Everybody felt like a certain energy or whatever the case may be. The moral of the story is, in the midst of me getting there, what I realized, I didn't need acknowledgement. Because I already was getting the acknowledgement from the people that mattered, which was the clients.
Yes.
And, you know, and then it's like once I started looking at it like that, I'm like, oh, my God. Like, yo, you're good. Like, you know, even if these people that you work for does not acknowledge you and let you know who and what it is that you bring to the table, which most bosses don't like to do that because they don't want you to get too big for your britches.
Yeah.
I want to be clear about that.
It's also, it's a job,
But
it's a business at the end of the day, too.
Once I realized the people that I actually worked for already acknowledged me, been enough said, and the rest has been history,
But
you know?
I think it's also important for them to see, like, if you want the best chances of, I think, somebody really grasping something, right? Is because I'm not going to name drop, but I remember there was somebody there that felt they needed to run that morning meditation meeting, right?
Oh,
And
okay, I got it.
What else? And mind you, might have been a couple weeks, just finished burping up crack, right? But I was able to see that this person is operating from a place of ego. This same person, we're in the day room where the pool room is, right? And she comes in, somebody stole my cell phone.
Oh, I remember this. Oh.
Blaming people. I know it was here. She took the cameras,
yes.
saw it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then, now, what I would think is, I learned in there, when you're wrong, properly admit it.
Yeah.
You think that person would have shown what recovery is really about and said, listen, I apologize. I was wrong.
Yes.
Right? So it's like, if they want, like, if I was looking at it, like, what's my best chance of getting people to really be engaged in recovery? I think that they should look at you. If you're there, if you are in that building, you should run that morning meditation meeting, because the whole day is a better feeling. Now, also at the same time, it shouldn't be, if you're not there, it's a worse day.
So let me give my boss, my director, his props. You know, I mean.
Oh wait, shout out! First of all, shout out to Dylan.
Yes,
right?
shout out to Dylan.
I can't say his name.
Yeah,
you guys
we can.
Okay.
We're outside of the facility.
When Miss Pat passed.
Oh yeah, that was big of him, man. That was
he
really
stayed
cool.
late
Yeah.
and sat up front. He didn't have to.
But now let me tell you one thing. We all were thinking before he came in. We're like, what happened? We're in
What did
trouble.
we do wrong?
I swear, nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody was like, motherfucker, this son of a bitch. What is he messing up our peer group? Everybody was ticked off. Then he comes in,
Yeah.
he drops it, and everybody went. I swear, everybody's jaw hit the floor because we were anticipating the worst possible news, and it was like, oh.
But mind you,
Because we just seen her, so everything was like.
This is an individual that gets out 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah, we never.
Stayed to 6:30.
And he never talks to us like that. You know what I mean?
Stayed to 6:30, and then on top of it, not like dropped it and then left.
He did a really
Does
good
the
job.
community needs to say anything?
Yes, he
That
treated
was
us like adults.
awesome. Moreover, we got to know him a little bit.
Yeah.
And know
So-
he started from sweeping.
Yeah, that was cool
sweeping
for him to
floors
give us his
see how
backstory.
far he's gone up, and like props to him. He,
Yeah.
he,
So,
he does a wonderful job.
You know, I'm not going to touch his story.
Yeah, of
or
course,
anything,
yeah.
but I do, and I mean this. You know, it has been times where I felt like, damn, dude, like, you know, could you do this or could you do that? But one thing I truly respect about him, he's big on the rules, right? And he does try to be fair. I also understand, like, I have to put myself in his shoes. Like, you know, I may go to him with a valid complaint, and, you know, it's not that he's not hearing me or anything. It's just that that's that addict shit in me wanting what I want, like, in that moment. And I had to slow myself down, and I had to realize this, you know, it's really nothing at the job that I can't handle myself.
Right.
Like, I don't need him to handle or rectify anything for me, because I am a healthy, responsible adult today.
Yeah.
You know, so in all reality, yes, in a perfect world, you're supposed to be able to go to whoever to, you know, get whatever resolved. But also, the person that I've become today, like as an adult, I also know how to go to people and have conversations.
Right.
Now, what I understand is those conversations may not always go how I would hope them to go.
Yeah.
So, you know, even when I'm at work, no, I don't get along with everybody at the job. Actually, I'm going to just be real. I kind of have a distaste for quite a few people at the job, and it might be vice versa, right? But the great thing about me, I can work with anyone and be respectful. Now, when the problem comes with me, once you start doing all this stalker shit, like you having all these conversations about me,
Yeah, that's
with
not cool.
people,
Got my ears
Yeah.
ringing.
with people that don't even know me, like,
Yeah.
and you really don't matter to me. But why would you sit in my face? Oh, hey, hi, I love you.
I
You're
can't
great.
stand
Then
that.
time I step off, you know, you're chit chatting about me with people that I don't give a shit. I don't care
can say
what
that,
you think or what they think, like out the gate anyway. So, like, why are we going down this road? I would rather you, if I'm not like your caliber of a person,
not
keep
for
it
you.
like that.
Listen,
Yeah, if I'm
that-
not
You
for
do what you doing over
Can
there,
I
and let
ask-
me do what I'm doing
Can
over
I
here.
ask you a question? Could you maybe have an idea? Why don't they have an alumni program?
I honestly, I don't know the whys and the why nots to like anything there, and I'm not trying to be funny.
Yeah,
When,
yeah,
when
yeah.
I wake up and when I go to work, I truly on my ride to work, and I always said I love to listen to Careless Whispers by George Michael. You know, that's me aging myself. You know, but it calms me
Don't
also.
wait till don't let the sun come down on me. That is my song.
Yo, but like I'm saying, like, and you know, as I'm riding to work, when I get to work, it's not about, you know, why they don't do this, why they don't do that, who don't like me, who don't care. All I be thinking about, I'm going to go here. I'm going to make sure everybody stay their ass there. I don't want none of the clients to leave. I want to make sure their spirit is good, and I just want to be what they need me to be for today. Anything outside of that, nothing else in there matters to me.
And
I really mean
and
that.
you can tell who is there just because it's a job and who's there to actually help. We can pick up on that as client. Like, people think we don't know. We know. We know who actually cares about us and who doesn't give a shit.
Recognize addicts. We can tell when somebody's ego is swollen. Like,
Yes.
some people got a high ego and low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And it shows. I do want to throw this in there. I don't know if it's going to be before or after, but there is a song about Fred that is going to be in this podcast. It's going to be at the end, or it's going to be
Yeah, the beginning or end.
But most definitely check it out. And one of the lyrics is very true, I feel, and it says, "Hope has a face and it looks like Fred," and that is so true for me. You know what I mean? Because you were the first person that when I was there, I was sitting on the couch. You came in, and the first thing you said, you said, "I went through the clothes. You got everything." Except for a picture. You couldn't have a picture, right? I had a picture of my girl. And I was like, what picture did I have? And then I remembered. And, yeah, you showed me around the place, and you just, like, I knew I was in a place that I could stay.
Because you know what it is, when you guys come to us, and I love to tell you guys, like, when you get there, even with you, you know, like, you guys, you know, you present with this tough guy persona and stuff in all actuality, and you might be a lunatic and you might be one of the toughest people on the planet, but when you guys get where you end up at, you're scared to death, and I can see it in your eyes, and I don't like that because it reminds me of how scared I was when I had to take a leap of faith and truly try to muster up a little bit of faith that this thing would actually work for me. Because now what you're putting me in a position where everything was like uncertain. I didn't know if I was going to be able to listen to the people. I didn't know if I was going to be able to sit in the meeting. I didn't know if I was going to be able to go up in there and start telling my truth. I was afraid to tell my truth because, see, me telling my truth can hurt others, you know, because I've done like a lot of things in the midst of me using, you know. Yeah. I could ruin some marriages. I could, I could ruin some friendships. Like, I could ruin like a lot of things. And, I'm going to just get right to it with one particular situation that has been kind of like making itself present in my life today, which consists of a guy, who got like this reputation and, he's this and he's that. And, we got a history of many of years, and it's a lot of things I could sit here and say. But the most important thing I have been choosing to say is, it's like I'm in love with somebody I know is no good for me.
Oh, of course. It's that chaos theory.
And the thing about me is today, thank God that this love resurfaced at a time when I'm stronger and when I'm healthier.
Yeah.
Because if it would have resurfaced about 2-3 years ago, I can honestly say I do not believe I would be sitting here doing this right now.
That's big.
This I know to be a fact. And the reason why I have to be honest about those things is because I say all the time, I got to be careful about when I get revved up, because I'm not one of those that anybody in Narcotics Anonymous can just come to me and get me to bring it back. When I'm up, I'm up. So I know me. I have done a lot and I'm not proud of this, but I had to do what I needed to do so I can survive this thing, right? For like my first 4 or 5 years, I had to make these people believe that they had some type of hold over me. That, you could come and be like, Fred, I see you showing up. Don't do that. No. I honestly would have been looking at them like, okay, But again, like I said in the beginning, I learned early on that some days the best thing I can do is nothing. Because I would rather do nothing than sometime talk to some of the people in Narcotics Anonymous. That sucks, but that's still my truth.
But you know what I noticed too? Like, I've been trying to do this time around. Is like, not just have people, like, I have certain friends that sometimes I get more out of, who actually help me, who are not even a drug addict, but just know me, know my whole situation from, back in the, I call them day ones. Right. Day ones, that kid hit me with a perspective that somebody that knew me for a year or two at a meeting's not gonna, it's hard to tell everybody your whole history, in one meeting or over time, especially when somebody's been with you for 20 years, your friend, you know what I mean? They understand it much better.
But, and it's also cool when you have those friends, right? Because there's some people that you get clean, and then they see you as the person you used to be and not who you've become, right?
Yes.
So that's why it's good to have new people. But I want to say this, like, this recovery stuff is a action program, right? So like me and him, from the first day I met him, he told me he wanted to do a podcast. I wanted to do a podcast. We talked about it while we were in treatment. I got out on Monday. He got out on Tuesday. Saturday we're doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we've done it consistently. And we use a lot of the things from recovery here just by showing up. And
This sometimes helped me out the most throughout the week. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how many meetings I go to, how many people I talk to. Sometimes just talking about getting it off completely off your chest. Like no filter, no holding back, just letting everything go.
But you know what? You guys are actually, and I don't think you guys really see like the connection here. You guys actually helping others is helping you, because that's pretty much what you're saying and what you're demonstrating here. Because what you guys don't understand about me, this was actually very important for me in my journey, because I kept finding myself saying like, oh my God, I can't believe they like really have that type of respect for me. Like they look up to me like that, you know, because I still have a hard time seeing me the way you guys see me, you know.
Yeah,
and
it's always
and bringing it back to Dylan, right? Dylan actually just says, damn, I done said I'm sorry.
We can blur it out,
you
maybe.
know, he actually, you know, said something to me when I was at work Wednesday. He actually was like, you know, I want to tell you, you do a very, very, very good job. And I really, really mean that. He was like, because when they come out of this cafeteria, after they do daily reflection with you, it's like an energy. But he was like, I mean it. It's not like a fake energy. It's a real energy. I see it and I feel it when they come out of here. So, again, thank you, you know, for like really helping them. And, you know, I'm trying to make myself feel like I don't need that and it's not important to me, but that would be me lying to myself.
Yeah, it feels good, man. Nobody, everybody likes
know
that.
that it's noticed by them.
Exactly. It feels good, and I'm trying to tread lightly with that, you know, because I don't want to go back to that place of relying on needing them to acknowledge my work.
There's
you
two
know?
things. It's like I won't go to my mom's and mow the lawn and be like, hey mom, mow the lawn, why'd you mow it?
Yeah.
Right? So there's that, but it's also, it feels good to be recognized because I will say there's people that I have heard sharing that morning meeting that don't share at all. Mm-hmm. You have the power to do that. God works through you, and you have an energy about yourself. You're unapologetically yourself. And then there's also like he said one thing one time. He was like, if you want to, don't come to me if you want something done. They already think I'm on your side.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you know, I remember Brendan saying, he said, you know, in early recovery, you don't ask the answers no. You know what I mean?
He's another one. I always him's another group that, because I only
Karen, I want to have Karen on here too. She's great.
She
those bowls are
actually
awesome.
knew I was coming, and
shout out to you.
Shout
out to
Karen.
Brendan.
Karen.
Yes.
Steve, I know you
Karen.
watch.
Shout out
you
to
don't say
Emily
anything.
too. Shout out to all y'all.
Yeah, shout out to
man.
everybody.
Listen, and I don't know, like, you know, if anybody watches this that comes out of there, man.
Or
like,
listen, if anybody needs help, you can contact us, and we can send you, get you hooked up with them.
We got, and on top of that, like, if anybody comes out and you stay clean, get in contact with us.
Yes.
Come on, we'd love to hear your story.
Yes.
We love success.
Everybody
stories.
loves redemption.
Especially if you come out of the place we came out of.
Yeah.
Because we could relate to you. We know what it's like. You know, like we know how to, like I was on the late night cleanup crew.
We both
For three,
deboed that.
like out of my 28 days, 25 days. You know what I mean? And I did it because I was able to eat some ice cream at night.
Ice cream, get the phones.
and
We got little perks.
yeah.
We cleaned up. We did our
We
thing.
did clean up.
We did,
but I
we did
also
our
got
thing.
to talk to my girl at night,
Yeah.
which was great. But like, yo, I've been to a lot of programs, and Silky came in one day, and he said, you know, this place, because I guess he knew the owner before the owner passed, and his name's in the sidewalk on the side of the building. Matt showed me, and he said, you know, this place was built on love, right? And I was able to feel that there, and I brought some of that. I think we brought some of that out of there with us. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, you're the third person we've had on that you didn't go through it, but you worked there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you really do help a lot of people. And I think it is great. I think if you guys do watch, I think you guys should give him a permanent spot doing that morning meeting. Just saying.
Give him his
Throwing
own
that
group.
out there.
Well,
you know what I mean? Or maybe,
to be clear.
maybe even if you guys do consider doing an alumni program, he would be the perfect person to bridge that gap.
And you know, like I want to be clear. When I'm there, they give me daily reflection.
Yeah.
It's just that you have others that
wanna
want
weasel
to
in.
do daily reflection.
But then it's like, ask the clients. I think
And
we
that's
know who's gonna
exactly what I
say.
say. I'll be like, let's let the clients decide, and we know how that gonna go. But
Yeah.
see, the thing about me is, I don't come to work to compete with people.
Right.
I would just give it to you if the clients would allow you to have it, right? Because it's never that for me. But in the same breath, it's very annoying to me, and it's getting old to me. Because even with me being clean and in recovery, like, I'm still Fred. Like, I still have a lot of my behaviors. Like, I'm still a work in progress,
Right.
I've been saying a lot lately, like, when is it going to be I don't have to walk on eggshells? When is it going to be, okay, let's consider Fred and how this might be making him feel? But thank God again for Narcotics Anonymous. I understand, even with people I work with, people that have chair commitments, people that have sponsors, do step work, go to meetings and everything, you're still sick.
Right.
Meaning I can say to certain people, right, you know what, because I'm getting better don't mean you are. And I just have to remind myself of these things, because the moment I start forgetting these things, that's when Fred starts showing up. And when Fred show up, all hell breaks loose. Because again, I know I'm the type, before I sit and have anxiety and all these weird things, when you getting revved up,
Yeah.
I'm going to dive right into it.
I mean, listen, that's my biggest thing is anger, violence. Like, that's all I ever known is
Yeah,
violence. Like,
yeah.
people just think because I'm sober, I'm going to be all of a sudden
But
nice.
that's also, you got to peel behind that and figure out.
No, I do,
you know
but
what
like,
I mean?
still, like, I'm not gonna be always so nice.
100%.
Like, you've been in the car with me,
Listen,
bro.
we have our moments.
Yes, like, listen, it's what I do. I play the tape forward, as corny as that sounds. I play the tape forward, and I go, okay, like, remember that? Did I tell you about? Remember I was on LA? Somebody
Yes, you
sideswiped
told
me,
me.
and I pulled over, and they pulled behind me. And I was like, all right. And they started taking off.
to
And
go.
I was about to chase after them. And I'm like, I'm going to chase after them. I'm going to crash into them. I'm going to rip them out of the car. And I'm going to put this guy through his windshields.
Right.
I said, let me just let him go. Because how many times people I sideswiped somebody and dipped
Right.
over the years. So
Right.
this little karma justice.
Well, I also think like it's more like I told you earlier when I was like, yo, this is God testing you, bro. He wants to see what you're gonna do. Like, I feel like sometimes God's up there and he just kicks me. What you gonna do?
Yeah,
Let me
just to
see.
test you. See where you're at. See if you can handle it.
Right.
Right?
And it's also, like, it's always when like hard times come. After that you break through and things get better, but you need that balance.
Yeah, I mean, I seen it happen in real time today. Yeah, I mean, the shit went real fucking sideways real fast today, and then did a little 180. You know what I mean? Which I couldn't believe it happened. Like, I prayed. I was like, God, you got to get me the one W over here.
The power of prayer. Like, we said, remember, Nikola Tesla said, the truth of the universe is energy, frequency, and waves.
Yes.
Right? A math class works because you got a whole bunch of people going to a class to learn about math. Mm-hmm. It's the same reason why a meeting works, same reason why prayer works. It's that energy.
Yes.
It's purpose.
It's what you, yeah.
And that most definitely helps. So before you were working where you are, what were you, a nurse?
I was a nurse's aide. I've been a medical assistant. Like, I have a history of like nursing homes, hospital, and like laboratories.
So you had that, I guess, like that's one of those qualities for helping others.
It's yeah, but my truth is, like, I've actually fell short a lot because I've been doing that for about over 25 years. Obviously, I was actively using.
Right.
I've used with people in high positions intentionally.
Use it as a blackmail.
Absolutely.
Sounds like what's the story? What's the story? Yeah.
When he was a surgical assistant.
I didn't even like them. I actually wasn't even into the same drugs as them. I just started doing the drugs they were doing because I needed to have a one-up on you.
Yeah, Wes did the same exact thing.
And then I prided myself on a very long time of believing that I was a lucky addict because of, how I had everything set up. I'm at that point in my life now. I'm like, well, damn, I wish I would have got caught or got jammed up years ago. Just imagine where I might have, been, today. But, it's like I stole from clients. I literally stole from clients. And I would not only steal from clients, but then I would be the person in the room, right? And because
how would you look for it?
And because I was the great Fred, just like you guys look up to me, in the hospital, it was the same thing. The great Fred, it's no way Fred could do that. And I use that shit to my advantage all the time. All the time. And the beauty about me, once I made the decision to actually give Narcotics Anonymous a try, I really went on a Tell the Truth tour. I let them know at the hospital I had been using drugs the whole time. I didn't get fired. I resigned. I was working for a nursing agency. I told them I had been using drugs the whole time. I didn't get fired. I resigned. Well, they turned around and told me, you know, that since you got that problem, and I commend you because it takes a real man to do this.
Right.
And then after that, I remember I went to Facebook and I told the world, like, yes, I'm a drug addict. You know, now you guys want confirmation. And you wouldn't believe what my brother said to me. My brother, he said, you know what? You just put yourself in the most powerfulest position ever in life. You have now disclosed your 100% truth. And the only thing you can do is go up from this point.
Right.
And
that's even with the podcast. Like at work was my thing. Because nothing ever happened at my job. You know what I mean, during the union. And like when I said it on the podcast, episode 1, we didn't say we had years clean. We came out the game like, yo, we just got out.
Yeah.
We're just doing this. Yeah, we've been in the program for 20 years.
But
like,
I didn't do a goddamn step.
Yeah, exactly. But like, just to hear people at work pull me aside and be like, yo, I'm in recovery too. I got clean. Like, you know, I thought it was gonna be like, oh, here we go. They're gonna get ran. You know, it would turn the opposite. People started messaging me. I went to high school with like, hey, I got this problem. You want to like? It was just crazy. People I never even thought would like be affected.
Yeah.
Well, I just look today. I got 66 days, right?
So I got.
And,
Well, man.
and what's awesome is like,
68.
yo, there was something different this time. Like, I don't know. You always talk about it. You know, we have a party and bullshit card. Right?
Yes,
What's
yes.
today?
Sooner or later,
Today
is
is
the
9th.
April 9th.
oh my God.
What's up?
Guys,
What?
in 17 days, I'm going to have 9 years.
Oh,
17 days, April
That's
26th. I'm
awesome.
going to have 9 years.
That's awesome.
now how does it feel 9 years later? Like, did it go by quick? Was it like
didn't.
it didn't, right?
It didn't.
Okay.
Life actually seems crazier. Life seems harder
I know,
because what I'm learning is, and a gentleman said something to me. I think about my 4th month coming around. I got in the cab and he was like, "Oh, so what fellowship are you from?" And, you know, I was still sick and had an attitude and all this shit. And I'm like, "The fuck, like you in my business, you know?"
Yeah, what are you
But I
talking
didn't
about,
realize I had the keychains on.
Oh,
my
so he
keys.
saw it,
Yeah, you know.
Advertising it.
But what he said to me, it kind of scared the crap out of me, but I so understand it today. He was like, you know what? I hate to say this to you, but watch this. The longer you stay clean, the harder it's going to get. And I'm like, what? Why would you say that? He was like, no, because here's the thing. The longer you stay clean, you run out of excuses to fuck up.
Oh, that's good.
And when he said that to me, you know, when I look back, right, today, because at some point this thing, it flips in such a way where, don't get me wrong, like the wrong shit that we usually gravitate, you know how they say the first thing you think, you know, delete that one and go to the next one.
Yeah.
So, you know, we instantly think the wrong thing first, right? So I'm still like, you know, kind of like in that mindset, but thank God today, right, I still have those thoughts, but I don't act out. Like I keep saying, some days I know the best thing I can do is nothing, right? And in the midst of me doing nothing, then that's when I just got to sit, I got to breathe, and I got to fight with myself because I'm still that sick. I know what the right thing is to do, but I still got to fight with myself to do it.
Yeah.
You know, but I have to be honest about those things. I don't want to ever come here and just make you guys feel like, oh, because I've learned this and I know the solution, that I go straight to the solution right away. No, I don't, because the solution in my world and in my head is so much harder than, you know, the wrong shit that I like to do. It's just that the wrong shit affects my life in a more deadly way.
Yes.
You
It's
know?
also, we're humans, man. We're not perfect. We're not built. No, I don't care. Even people that are not addicts. Nobody is perfect. Nobody has a perfect day all day
Absolutely.
long. You may have good moments, bad moments, but not every part of your. I mean, God bless if your day is perfect 24/7. But
I always say I don't have bad days. I have bad moments.
Yeah.
You know, they'll come in. But I think it was Brendan that said, you know, most people in recovery have anywhere between 1 to 5 years and then like 10 years or more. It's that gap between 5 and 10 that a lot of people don't get to, because between 1 and 5, it's still new.
And
Yes.
it's
You know
rough.
what I mean?
That gap between 5 and 10 is rough.
Well, they also say, you know, 5
Yeah.
years you get your marbles. At 10 years, you know how to use them.
I think what I kind of flipped at, what I think usually happens at 5 years, we have this expectation of having more than what we actually have at 5 years. And then that's when you're now struggling with, oh my God, why am I doing this? If this is, all I got like in 5 years, and it kind of make you go back. For me, I went back to that mindset of questioning this thing, because I've been doing this shit for 5 years. Like, why I don't got this? Why I don't got that? Why she got? Why he got? And listen, I'm so sick in my head, I'll start basing it on this type of shit. Oh, that's because they're Caucasian. They got more in this recovery thing than I do. It's just the way of the world. Like I do all these
also, I learned too, like I love hearing a story and the person's like, yeah, my life was so crazy, this, blah, blah, and all of a sudden I have a business, I got a brand new house.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. It's like, whoa. Then I find out somebody gave them the business, they came for money. So then I go, you know what? I'm so proud that when I came out of prison the second time, I started from zero, bought a house, got a career, and I wasn't even fully working the program. So I look at it this time
it's going to be so
like listen, like I want everybody to doubt me because I'm just gonna shove it up their ass 10 times harder. Because you know what? I don't give a shit. The whole world doesn't think I could do it. You know what? At this point, I know what I'm about. I know what I believe. I know what the fuck I'm gonna do.
But you know what, my man? It's not about the world not believing you can do it, because you're doing it already.
Yes.
And like you guys know how I am. I always stress, be very careful about the verbiage that you use when you're talking to yourself, because we can easily start sounding like the haters and don't even realize it, so I'm just big on, and again, because the verbiage, I'm big on the verbiage that I use with me, and I'm very big on the verbiage that I allow people to use with me.
So peep this, Fred. This guy did a study with droplets of water, right?
Oh, this is a good one.
He put it on microscopic slabs and froze them. On one he wrote hate, on one he wrote love, joy, sadness, fear, anger, happiness, all positive and negative words. The ones that were positive froze like unique, beautiful snowflakes. The ones that were negative froze resembling cancer cells. I say that to say our body's mostly water. So intention is real. And we put intention into ourselves. That's why positive affirmations are so vital, right? So, like, if you say I can't, you're probably right. If you say I will, you got to.
You know what's a big one? The coin out. Because I remember Dave. Dave came in. Dave said something like, "Listen, when's the next time you're gonna get 50 people to say something nice about you?" And I don't care. I hated coin outs. I used to always dip and leave. But you know what? Like, once you sit there and it seems
feels nice.
It feels good. Like at the end of that coin out, you feel good. Like you're like, oh, you have like a.
Especially when you have those maybe 10, 15 people that been in.
Dude, how many?
For you.
There was people that came up to me that I didn't even knew me. It was like, yo, I heard you. Good luck with the podcast. All this. I was like, what? I didn't even know I touched it. Or this person's like, yo, I heard your story and I heard you talking to somebody, and like, I was like, wow, I didn't even know all these people knew me like that. Because you know me, I'm a creature of habit. I stay with the people I stay with. I'll talk to everybody, but there's only a few people I really mess with. But I'm so loud. I guess certain people heard certain things, and like, it was just crazy to get everybody's feedback and like.
And knowing that you touched somebody's life that you didn't even know.
No idea I even touched it.
Sonia said it to me. She said during the coin out, she was like, you helped me more than you know. Your perspectives always gave me like a different outlook on things, and I was like, wow, it was nice to. It's nice to hear things like that.
But that's like a double-edged sword, because I think what the problem is, why most people don't want to do the coin out, because most of us are not used to having 5 people to say something good about us. Right. So it's like, I would assume, that most walk into it assuming that it's going to be a lot of negative shit said. Right. And it's like, why set myself up for that shit, right? And then you go
you're so
in
used
there.
To everybody saying
right, and then you go in there and you see like, oh God, you actually sitting in the chair and you thinking like, they talking about me.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, what? It's me?
Yeah, and then it go from, nervous to like anxious to like, you like, oh my God, it actually feels good. And the next thing you know, you just chilling.
And it's crazy. It's always the people, like, for me, it was always the people like, didn't even know that, like, would think that way, or I just thought it would be like, okay, wish you the best of luck, goodbye. And they actually said like the longest thing. I'm like, what?
But you know what else is cool about like when you meet people in rehabs or meetings and they're living the right way, right? You don't know, you hear what they used to be like. You don't see them as that. You know what I mean? Like I know you had a problem. I couldn't fathom it.
Yeah, I couldn't picture you like that.
I couldn't picture you like. Well,
yeah,
I did see.
Yeah, you just see me. First day was bad. First day was bad. Yeah, first day was bad.
But and that's the first time I noticed. Wow, he's high. It's not kicking my stuff up, right? Like I remember the last day I was there. I was sitting like where the whiteboard is in the front, right? And I was looking at the house and I was sharing, and I was like, it's funny. As I look around this room, I see every version of me that's ever been to a program. You know what I mean? And then I realized where I am now. You know, like even when I get like. Last week, I got for the week I made $1,200, and I was like, I only made $1,200. My sponsor was like, dude, you made $1,200 for the week. Shut up.
Dude,
You'll be spending $1,200 for the week.
I don't make $1,200 for the week.
You know, so,
and I work much harder.
I
than
know you do.
So, dude, recognize your blessing.
So that's when I but that's when I realized how important gratitude is, right? And when you're grateful for things, the universe gives. I mean, and also like money is not a trigger for me today. You know, it used to be a trigger. Where am I going to spend it?
Yeah.
And now I do positive. Like I think I went to church on Sunday and I gave like fucking $400, and I was like, I would have spent it anyway back in the day.
Yeah.
Peeping out a hole because I think the feds are coming because I got a 40 piece of crack.
Yeah,
You know
but it's
what I mean?
crazy, like the God thing. Like I'm not a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person. You know how I feel about all that. But like, okay, when I got out of rehab, I didn't have nowhere to go. I slept in my car for days. But I just prayed, and I knew I had the money for the apartment. I knew it was gonna come. But like, yeah, I slept in my car. Yeah, right out of rehab, I slept in my girl's house one night, and then in the car.
That's
I was
the
sleeping in the
wild
White
thing,
Castle.
Because like when you read the literature says about you could use the power of God long before you learn how to understand it. You know what I mean? That's why it's like, yo, be careful what you pray for. You know, like there was an individual in there that I was just like, I wanted to blow my head off, right? But it's like, oh, God sent him for me to learn some patience.
That's right.
You know, and it's like perception changed and stuff.
Yeah, it's like I never had that white, so you hear people say, like, I seen that light and I seen blah, 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 blah. Like, no, it's just little coincidences that keep happening. Like today was a huge one, man. I went from, I swear to God, if somebody was around me, I was going to choke life out of somebody, or I was going to destroy everything in my apartment. I just kept talking to people. I talked to you, my sponsor, a couple people, prayed on it, and then just kind of like took a nap. But then I woke up and just, bro, everything changed.
Fred, I know, the program teaches us stay in the day, and it's important to stay in the day, but it's also like, I believe I plan for my future so I know where I'm going. I have a vision board, the things I want to accomplish and whatnot. But what do you feel is next for you? What would you like to do? Is KSAC in the cards?
Honestly, I've spent a very long time wanting to be a registered nurse.
Okay.
But I only wanted to be a registered nurse because of where I was working at, But
what was that, in Brooklyn?
No, in the hospital right in Riverhead. That was the last Peconic.
Okay.
I worked there for because I know people that I work with already at the job now from there, years back.
That's cool.
So, now since I'm in this field, it's certain things about this field that do interest me.
Right.
Like I tried to do reception for admissions. I'm not a put me in the office
You're
type
a people
of energy.
person.
Yeah, you got to be out with the people.
I need to be like interacting with the people.
Yeah.
Like I need to be in the battlefield. What I feel like my role looks like going forward for me in recovery and how I'm gonna get a job pertaining to that. I feel like I'm good at getting the people to help them.
Okay.
I really feel like I'm very
gap.
important. Yes, I feel like I'm a very important tool in that sense because when others don't have the ability to let a person get relaxed enough to allow them in their personal space just to show them that they're okay, I have that ability. Most people, when they meet me, they are not uncomfortable with me putting myself in their personal space because of how I present myself. I don't just come in with, hey, like get up and like all of that. I'm very calming. I'm everything no one was when I came around.
Yes, you're doing what you wanted done to you in the beginning.
It's kind of like that thing, like, when I have kids, I'm going to do what my parents didn't do. You
Yes,
know what I mean?
That's exactly what it is.
So I think, and I said this to you on the phone, I think that, something like this for you would be good, right? Because, number one, you're a people person. But you could also, you have an outreach of people that probably have a nice story. You told us about a couple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it would be good for you. But also maybe like even if they did do an alumni thing, for you to stay in touch with people, but also like an outreach type of thing to put people into places. And even if it's not just that one, you know what I mean? Put people wherever. You know what I mean? If they didn't have a job title for that.
So I guess what my future looks like, and I guess the best way I could sum it up is whatever God intends.
There you go. I like that the best.
And the thing about me is what I understand today, it could go in any direction.
Right.
Thank God that I've found several purposes, if that makes sense. When I actually showed up about 10 years ago feeling like I had none, you know, and I understand how, you know, when I hear all the things, like, 'cause even when I look in the mirror today, I don't see Fred. I see some of the shit that I've done when I was actively using. So the mirror is not my friend. You know, it's no secret. You know, in my weight loss journey, you know, I went from 467, you know, when they took the drugs away from me, and then I started using food and didn't even know, you know. So now, I've lost 237 pounds, but I still look in the mirror and I don't like the mirror, because I see all the shit that Fred done when I was actively using, right? I could be sitting on the porch during the winter, smoking a cigarette really quick. When somebody walks by, I get so cold and so depressed, because I remember all those nights I was either sleeping outside in the cold, or I was walking the streets, like in blizzards, like just trying to get drugs. And sometimes, you know, me walking to get drugs, it might have looked like I had $7.
Yeah.
But, you know, at least I knew I could get something to smoke. You know, like it's insane when I look back at like how I was living. I remember it was days we would go out and we would all just collect like cigarette butts, just random, like on the ground. And then we would take them back to the house and we would open them things up and put them in notebook paper and like brown paper bags, and just rolling it up. Like, this is who I was. And then watch this, right? Now, because I got a few days and a few hours clean, I got the nerve to look at people who I see doing that and want to turn my nose up at them. You know, oh, how easily we forget.
Yeah, you forget like that.
All of these things become so important.
But you know what's another thing that's real that people don't really buy dysmorphia. Like, I have it bad. Like, I know I'm not, like, with the word, I never look in my mirror until, like, sometimes I see myself in video or a picture, but I never look at myself and happy.
Yeah.
I'm always pushing. Like,
you want to be bigger.
Bigger, more ripped, more lean. And then when I'm on drugs, I get skinny. I can't even look. Like, I put blankets over the mirror.
That's the addict in us. Like, it's never enough.
No, it's never enough. I just push. Doesn't matter. I will grind, and I just never look at myself and go, wow, good job.
You know, it's kind of like when they tell us, you know, we got to be careful. It's kind of like they tell us we got to be careful when we're dealing with this mountaintop thing. Because, you know, a lot of us, what we discover when we get to the top of a mountain, it's only the bottom of another one.
Yeah.
So meaning it's like never ending.
Yes.
Like, no matter what we do, like, you know, you may get to the size you want to be. Then you're going to be like, oh, God, now I got to do something with my ears, you know. Then I got to do something with my kneecaps. You know, like, it's never going to be enough.
But also, I try to look at it now as it keeps me pushing. It keeps me pushing the limits. Yeah. Which could be good, or could, you know, sometimes I push it too much, which, you know, could be bad. But listen, it's a healthy push. Like, that's why I stopped drinking years ago, because of working out.
But I also learned something, too, with my journey, right? Sometimes trying to be responsible is actually being irresponsible.
Yeah.
You know, so like I really, because, you know, we come up in here and we hear all these things that, you know, as addicts, right, in the fellowship, we supposed to be doing for one another. But then you got to realize sometimes it's going to be a situation where you don't have it in you to be what that person need. You know, so again, but the addict in us will make us feel like we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this. And I remember at one point I was talking about how I hated the exposure that I had, like, in Narcotics Anonymous. Because the thing about me is, if you're sharing at a meeting and you're going through something that I've been through, it's my responsibility as an addict with that experience to come up to you and talk to you, right? And I will do that. But here's the problem for me. Now, every other meeting you see after that, don't be approaching me like I'm your friend. Because, you know, now what you don't understand, you are now triggering me, because I'm actually an introvert. I don't like interacting with people, and I tell you guys this all the time.
Or because I'm an extrovert and introvert.
I'm an introvert. People scare me. They really, really scare me, especially when
I would never think that. Never think that.
It's like they scare me in one breath, but I live my life to show them I don't give two fucks.
Yeah, I can see that part. That part I can say,
You know, so it gets tricky with me. Like I'm trying to basically say to you, like, no, you know, Biggie said more money, more problems. I'm saying more people, more problems. You know, but then in the same breath, I'm over here saying, like, yo, please, like, I ain't thinking about you motherfuckers like anyway, like that. You know, so it gets
it gets complicated. It gets complicated fast.
With that balance thing with me, like it's hard for me to find balance in any and everything.
But you know what? I can
do.
relate to you because listen, my girlfriend's always say, you don't shut up. You can talk to anybody. But the truth is, I don't like I like to be alone, or like you see, I like to clip up with a very few people and I only mess with them. Yes, I could talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Because I know it's just something I have to do, or it's like something I try to push myself. Because I can just stay closed-minded and talk to 4 people and be good with that. Because I'm big on loyalty. And it's like, I will give you the shirt off my back and go walk a million miles. The second you burn me, I'm done. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm always afraid of getting burned, so I keep
it's
the
also
distance.
the thing, like, once you show me who you are, I'm going to believe.
Yes, like once I see somebody bullshitting and lying, it just, if you got to fake, how many times we see, I've been to prison, I've done this, it's like, why are you lying? Like, just tell us the truth. We respect the truth. I don't respect the lie.
And watch this, talking about people pleasing, right? Like, see how you just said, we don't like
Yes,
talking to people,
exactly.
right? But you know why we talk to people? We'll do it anyway because it's almost like in our mind, I would rather be goofy and shit, interact with you knowing I don't want to versus who I know the other side of me to be, this angry, grumpy, miserable fucking person.
Exactly.
You know, when in all actuality it looks that way, but me not talking to you does not mean I'm miserable and grumpy.
Exactly.
I'm actually very comfortable sitting over here not talking to you.
Yeah.
But that can be dangerous too,
Yes,
right?
because
so now we're forced to like interact and talk and do all the things we don't like
I
to
got my
do.
coin out. Everybody was like, everybody's like, yo, I thought you were just so crazy when you walked in.
Winding it down.
So I started, I thought you were so crazy. Yeah, I know, it does fly. And then, like, hearing everybody saying, I thought you were crazy until I talked to you. Like, how many people, like, come up to me and they're like, well, you look like a maniac until I started talking to you. It's like, yeah, I can talk to anybody.
But it's like clothes on a mannequin.
Yeah, but it's also, Well, it's also that, and they judge a book by its cover.
Oh,
It's because
100%.
I look a certain way, you think I'm a certain way.
100%. There is a couple things I do want to talk about before the end of this. Number one, shout out to
The Red Bull.
You guys
Always.
get to
God
sponsor
sponsor
us.
us, please. Oh, my God.
So next week we got the people that started Long Island
wait
Paranormal
for this. I
Investigators. We
can't
got them
wait.
coming on, which is gonna be cool. We're gonna be.
We gotta try to do a paranormal hunt.
Saturday we got a rapper from CI, this guy Mouth. He's
That's gonna be
really
cool.
talented. We got him coming on Saturday. After that, there's a chick named Tiana that's going to be coming on. That her baby father died from an overdose, so she's going to come on and tell her story.
I gotta try to get Wolf of Wall Street back.
Yes, and
I didn't touch that either. Like really quick, when I first showed up here, someone who I actually had become attracted to and kind of formed a love for. Was the first person I was exposed to overdosing.
Really?
In here.
Oh shit.
And it really went left. When you spoke of her and her friend overdosing, because I felt like everybody felt him trying to save me. Because I was the one who was taking it serious, and they were used to him. He had been coming around years before me.
Okay.
And they were just so used to him with the in and out. So they saw that I was trying to take this serious. So it would be days me and him would be walking around in Riverhead, and they would literally stop and make me get in the car with them and then just wait
trying to
And then I remember the last meeting we were at together, because he was messing with this lady who was married, like in the rooms and stuff, and he kind of got revved up. He stormed out. I went out behind him. I remember they was all like, don't go. He's going to hurt you, all this stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, listen to me. He will hurt every last one of you before he hurts me.
Yeah.
But the point is, I had got the call, and, it's very unfortunate. The last thing he said to me was, I have to get away from here because I'm going to die. That was our last conversation because it had now progressed, and he was now became an IV user and stuff.
The game changes at that point.
And I didn't really have the knowledge and wisdom I have now.
Yeah.
I remember me responding like, what is wrong with you? Like, you're bigger than this. Like, this shit is gonna kill you, And he knew it was gonna kill him. Like, he literally said to me, I'm going to die if I don't leave New York. And this went on for like 2-3 days. He was calling me, asking me to borrow money. I was giving him the money because I'm like, damn, what if he's really hungry? But I was like, I noticed some addict stuff. He wanted to get dope, So then I had to make the decision to block him because I wasn't using, but dealing with him made me feel that same chaos and unmanageability that was in my life, even though it wasn't me causing it. So I put him on the block list. He could not contact me. And I got the call like 3-4 days later. And when I got the call and they said that, you know, he's passed. He overdosed like at a gas station while his dad was driving him to like a treatment center.
Damn, he was on his way to treatment center.
It just broke my heart, and like in that moment, everything just came down. Like you guys were so worried about trying to save me. Now what?
You should have been
about him?
saving, trying to save him. Yeah.
You know, so it's like this thing. I just said, you know, because we just recently, you know, had a major loss to like, you know, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholic Anonymous, you know, just whatever, just to added community period, right? But what I try to get everyone to understand is, you know, it's very unfortunate when you're new at this thing, like we were talking about earlier. We are going to lose people. I had people calling me like, why did it happen? We know he could have called you. Yes, my man, but I got to tell you the truth, and I hate to do this because the person I was talking to, first time doing this thing, he didn't want to call.
Yeah, exactly.
Loaded the lock.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter what happens.
He didn't want to call, and I promise you, he also did not think that last time was going to be his last time. He thought he was going to fuck up. He was going to make a call. He was going to get into treatment, and he get to reset. That's why I love to say when they come to my job, right? Don't come in here telling me all this shit. Oh, I don't got another run in me. Shut up. As long as you got breath in your body, you got another run.
You might not have another recovery.
The problem is we do not know if we're going to survive.
And listen, the drugs with this fentanyl, xylozine's in it. This is not like, okay, you mess up. This is like one time you're dead. That's it. And it can happen to people with the biggest tolerance to the lowest tolerance. It's not the game is amplified times 10 now.
Right.
Like the death rate is through the roof.
It's crazy.
So it's like every time you do it, you're putting that gun, you're doing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
So listen, anybody that's watching this, if you're struggling, man, you could call me 208-506-1670.
Or 631-388-2951.
And you can also contact me at 718-804-3976. And anyone that knows me, know I really mean it. And watch, even if you call me and you scared to talk to me, let me help you with something right now. It's okay, because I probably just want you to know that I can hear you and know you're alive, and I might not be listening anyway.
There you go.
That's what's up. Yeah, man, contact us, man. There is a way. We're all living proof that there's a way out of this. And anybody, listen, there's sick people and coffee at every meeting. Sometimes there's no coffee. You know what I mean? But make sure the step work is the program. The meeting is the fellowship. Do the work.
And listen, it's a free program. It doesn't cost you anything. Just go. What do you have to lose? What have you done before that? You know what I mean? Like, try it. That's all you have to do. Try it.
Right.
You can't say it doesn't work if you haven't tried it.
Right.
And work the full program. That's our sponsor
right.
steps. You got to do the whole thing. You can't just show up. You can do that for a little bit, but you got to work the whole.
White knuckle.
Yeah, you try to work the
not
program.
Sustained recovery,
Exactly.
Man. You know, do the step work, and you know, at least do the 12 steps. If your life don't change, they say your misery is refunded at the door.
Exactly.
So
Right. You got to do this thing, guys, because if you're not doing this, life's going to do you.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And anybody watching, if you guys come out of treatment, also contact us if you want to be on the podcast. We're definitely gonna have you back another time.
Yes. Because I know it's so hard to cram everything in one shot.
Yeah.
And plus,
would you be down to come back in like a month?
Listen, whenever you guys want me to come, just let me know and I will come.
Appreciate
I'm
that.
to do this on this platform because this is showing my growth. I love both of you.
Love you
and
too,
I'm
brother.
very, very, very proud of you guys.
Thank you.
I mean that. And I'm not, you know, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat anything, you know. You, my man, blow my mind.
Really?
And I actually always speak of you. I'd be like, I don't know this person. I was like, because when we used to interact, and then, you know, it would come in here now, and it's just like everything. He was listening. The whole time he was listening.
Yep.
He was listening. And you know what? I want to maybe get you to take a look at something. I think it's more of an image thing with you, right? I think you are still... I believe you have a reservation, and I'm only speaking from a place of love. I believe you have this reservation where you have not completely committed to this yet because you still, it's like the look. You know, it's kind of like, it's looked upon as being goofy, you know, kind of like corny, because I got a lot of those friends, right?
Yeah.
I'll be like, I can't go out with you guys. I might relapse. They got to be like, bitch, why you got to say relapse, you know, or why you got to talk about calling your sponsor? Because I'm like an addict, like, hello, you know, so... I'm trying to get you to understand, my man, as I understand. I understand, you know, some of us, you know, old fuckers, you know, we still, you know, we look young and, you know, we still out there in the streets, even though we may not be doing drugs. So, you know, when you're in the streets, you still hear that, like, that slang. Again, I got people that be like, oh, you goofy. Oh, you this. Oh, you that. But here's the beauty that I find in it today. So what? I let them call me these things because I find comfort in knowing that, you know, just like you got an opinion, I have one too. And it's 1,000,001 things I could be calling you, but look at God and Narcotics Anonymous. I choose not to. I have restraint and discipline today.
That's what's up. That's growth.
Yep.
All right, so guys, give it up for Fred, man.
Yes.
Thank you for coming,
Thank you,
man.
brother.
We're definitely gonna have
Absolutely,
you on.
Thank you for having
and
me.
we're gonna be doing a podcast in 2 days.
Yes.
That'll be episode 7. This should be out sometime next week. We'll send it to you prior to.
Yes.
Put the song in the beginning of the front or whatever.
And then we'll put the clips throughout the week.
Shout out my people.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And, you know, I want to give a special shout out to my cousin, Karen, and my homegirl, Marlene, who is actually here with me now.
They're in the green
And
room
they
out
made
there.
this possible.
Give it up
So
for them for bringing you.
thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for coming, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate
And
it.
shout out to that wonderful place that I work
Yes.
at in Hampton Bays. You know, what's understood need not be explained.
Exactly.
If you know, you know.
No, if you don't, you
Yes,
don't.
sir.
Whoa. Yeah. Brownstone baby from Brooklyn. Mama praying in the hallway like Fred chasing shadows on footing. Trying to stretch a short high all night. Rain cold through the summer. Friends' names on the block went ghost. Eyes red in the mirror. Asked, is this all I'm worth the most? He hit that bottom like a brick. Concrete kiss in the hospital drip. One hand on the rail, one hand on his chest. He said, God, if you're real, I'm a mess, but I'm next. Now it's good morning, I'm fresh. Smile bright as the sun rises. Walking down the halls in scrubs and Crocs, holding broken hands through detox. From Brooklyn pain to Long Island peace, every day he helps another soul breathe. He's a blessing in the place he bled. Hope got a face now, and it looks like Fred. Yeah, black, loud in his laughter. Never shrinking down to fit the room. Rainbow lanyard on his badge swinging. Telling kids your truth can bloom. Coffee cups, late night check-in. Sitting on the floor when they shake. He says, I've been where you're sitting. If I can make it out, you can too. Just wait. He walks him through the shakes and sweats. Just feel that fear, but place your bet on one clean day, then one day more. You're not the person you were on that floor. Now it's good morning, I'm fresh. Smile bright as the sunrise edge. Walking down the halls in scrubs and Crocs, holding broken hands through detox. From Brooklyn pain to Long Island peace, every day helps another soul breathe. He's a blessing in the place he bled. Hope got a face now, and it looks like Fred. To the hopeless, he's a hallway light. To the lost, he's a ride through the night. Come on, he don't sugarcoat a thing. He just said, I'm still me, still proud, still blessed. Unapologetic in every step. Tattoo scars that he won't forget. We say thank you with every new start. Fred, you're the backbone, you're the heart. Now it's good morning. Smile bright as the sun rises. Walking down the halls in scrubs and Crocs, holding broken hands through detox. From Brooklyn pain to Long Island peace, every day helps another soul breathe. We're so grateful for the life he led. Hope got a name now, and the name is Fred.